sorry. We are still setting up on our own end. I've not even seen you. You need to. At least if I can see you now, we'll chit chat before we start. Except you want us to chit chat while waiting.
It's okay.
Okay. So what network are you using? Because this one everything clicked once. Imagine it.
But presently I'm using MTN.
MTN. Oh, okay. That's everything just clicked once. Which one should I check Facebook on? I think I'll use my phone. It's a freezing. And a side key. And the side key, if it's on it, if we.
Can we check out? And then Wi-Fi.
So what part of Nigeria do you live in? Are you in Lagos or Port Harcourt or Abuja or Enugu? Where?
Right now I'm in Kwara State.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I come from a district.
Oh, okay. So you've never lived in Lagos?
Well, not really. Not really. Lagos is not really my thing.
Yeah. Lagos is a special place.
I tell you.
If you can live there, you can live anywhere.
Anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world, yeah. Anywhere.
Knock it out my fair class.
I like it though. It's like a training ground. Monique, any láti turn it off like they say. If you press the side key.
What's it on?
Oh, okay. Sorry. Ọkùnjọ́ ṣé ká bẹ̀rẹ̀ even tí yẹn ò bá wá I can see àlè tí n bá ti join ele.
Ti ṣe.
Oh hi, so good to see you. I can finally see you.
You too. Yeah.
Ẹ jẹ́ kó wá dẹ̀gẹ̀.
But I can't seem to see you.
You can't see me?
Mo nǹkan táwọn máa rí lélẹ̀ tí máa dùn máa ṣe máa rí.
Okay, you will. Don't worry.
Ṣé ẹ rí wọn bẹ́ẹ̀?
Yeah, I can see her.
There'll be a little bit of delay.
I like this your Ankara.
Oh, thank you.
You will have to send my own.
Oh, I will.
Can you see me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. All right. So we're good to go.
Yeah.
I'll have to be quiet for a while. Hello everybody, welcome to Real Talk with Odun. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. As you all know, I always say I like greeting everybody all over the world because the world is a big place, it's a big stage, and we are all in different places. So good afternoon, good morning, good evening. In fact, good night in some places. You know, welcome to Real Talk with Odun. Okay, on today's episode we have a guest. We have someone that wants to tell us a little bit about her story, and then we will go from there. We'll get to talk to her about some questions that it's not, I'm very sure it's not peculiar to her, it's peculiar to a lot of women, myself included. So we are going to try as much as possible to address some topics that concerns divorced people, divorced women and single mothers. So today will be, yes, a little bit of my story. I know some of you are very familiar with the show and you know we do my story, but this is not just going to be my story. It's going to be my story with a twist. It's my story with questions. It's my story with some things that concerns us as women, which is basically what we do on this show. So welcome to today's episode of Real Talk, and I hope you all are ready, because we are ready to get into it straight up. My guest is Peace. Peace will do a little bit of introduction about herself, and then we'll go on from there. Thank you for doing this with us, Peace. How are you doing? Good afternoon.
Oh, good afternoon. It's actually good evening from here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. Oh, well, as you have rightly introduced me, I am Pete Imayusi Ewansia. I hail from Edo State, Nigeria. I studied microbiology in the University of Benin. Well, to bring it all into perspective concerning the topic we are discussing today, I like to start my story from 2012. Yeah, so 2012 was the year I got married, and it was supposed to be the most beautiful thing that would happen to me. But along the line, I realized that it wasn't working out as I had envisaged that it would. So um, I had to walk away in 2016. Yeah, so around 2018, there were some attempts to make it work out. But for me, the marriage was beyond salvageable. So I carried on and, I moved on. And contrary to what people thought, contrary to the kind of way I carried myself out there, it was one of the toughest decisions for me. But for most people, they felt, well,
It was easy.
I looked tough and I had it. Yeah, it was easy. And a lot of people came down at me for that decision. There were a lot of criticism from people whom I loved, people, strangers, and what have you. Yeah, so undoubtedly it was one of the most difficult situations for me. Yeah, so that's just a bit about my story.
Okay. I'll have to just a minute. Are we live?
Yes.
I can't see it. It's real talk, right? I'm not seeing it. It's not coming up live here. I don't think. No, it's not, Uncle Josh. Sorry, please.
It's okay.
I'm checking.
Yeah, it's not. Even Facebook.
No, I just turned off the Facebook now. Leave it there, sorry.
Oh, okay. No, it's not. Sorry, we might need to start again when we go back, but I don't think.
Yeah, we'll check setting out.
Chan, you know, to request for our life.
Yeah, Instagram, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm restarting it.
Okay. So we'll just start afresh.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I hope you don't mind. We'll have to start afresh.
It's okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, hello everyone and welcome to Real Talk with Odun. Welcome to today's episode of the show. And we have to apologize for starting up a little bit late. Good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are on the face of the earth. Welcome to Real Talk and thank you for joining in and tuning in every day with us. Thank you for joining Afolabi, you're the first person to tune in today. Thank you. So, a little bit of heads up. We started a few minutes ago, but then we found out something was wrong, and so we had to go back and restart again. So we are just going to start again all over. And I said, okay, let me not just introduce this because we were not live then. Today's episode is a little bit of my story, and it's not going to be the normal my story. It's going to be my story with a twist. It's going to be my story with a little bit of questions, a little bit of points of discussion that affect us as women, especially divorced women and matured singles or single parenting. And so today we have a guest that will be. She'll tell us a little bit of her story, yes, but then the bulk of it will be the lessons she took from her experiences and how we can take those lessons and use it to better ourselves. Okay, so we are just going to go straight into it, and I'm going to let Peace do a little bit of introduction about herself. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, Ame. Thank you, Cutie. Thank you, Adebola Amira. Akinsteniola. Thank you, Amaka. Thank you all. I know you all have been waiting for a while, but here we are. Okay, so thank you for joining us today, Peace. Can you just give us a little bit of introduction about yourself?
All right. Good evening from here. I am Peace Imayuse Wansida. I hail from Edo State, Nigeria. I studied microbiology from the University of Benin, Uniden. Well, I'd like to put my story in perspective as regards the discussion we have today. It all started in 2012 when I got married. And you know, in everybody's life, marriage is one thing that you look forward to as being the most beautiful experience in your life. Yeah, so, but along the line, I realized that the arrangement wasn't working for me. Yeah, so due to the demerit that far outweighed the benefit of staying, I decided to call it quits. So in 2016, I walked out. However, in about 2018, we did try to, patch things up to see if it would work. But at that point, I felt that it was not salvageable anymore. So I carried on. However, due to the way I carried myself, or due to the way I just carried on, a lot of people felt that I had, it was an easy decision for me. So a lot of people felt that I just had it all put together, and I came under close to me, strangers. They judged me heavily for carrying out that singular act. And a lot of things over the years, but we thank God.
Okay.
We are healing.
A question from all you just said. Why did you leave? What made you actually decide to leave?
Well, apart from the specifics that went on in the marriage, for me, it was a place that I would say I became depressed. I became depressed because of some of the specifics that I would not like to mention out there that happened. And by the time I was looking at my mental health, I realized that there was no need to sacrifice my mental health on the basis of, being there, not seen as a failure. So that was the main reason why I took the decision I did.
Okay, so when everything started affecting you mentally, that was when you knew it was time for you to leave.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely. You know, there is something somebody said that sometimes it's better to leave You know, it's better for you to walk out and, you know, regain yourself, heal, than being there and somehow something bad happens to one or both of you. So that was why I took something like it. Yeah.
Okay. And then there is this other thing you mentioned about you facing a lot of criticism from your close people. Was it
Yeah.
was it family? Because we know as Africans, most of the times, our parents especially, they'd rather you not leave. So the criticism, was it from family or was it friends? Or was it, who were the people that were criticizing you?
Well, funny enough, it wasn't even family. Because I remember that night I had to travel 6 days. I had to do a 3-hour trip with everything I had to come back home. I remember coming home and my mother was surprised and I just laid on the floor and I started crying, I'm dead, mommy, I'm dead. There wasn't any criticism from family, funny enough. But it was those people those close people. Maybe people that share the same faith with you, that feel that, you know, marriage is supposed to be for better, for worse. You know, people who, in short, strangers, people from your community that knew you while you were growing up, you know, experienced when you got married and everything, then they ask questions and they get to know what happened and they feel that, what is there? People have had it worse than this. It has stayed, you know. I think that's where the criticism really came heavily from. Yeah.
Yeah, was it because they really don't get it, they don't understand your story, or it was just more of a cultural thing? I'm re-emphasizing this because a lot of women will not leave because of things like this. So I'm trying to make us understand that at times it's really not your fault as a woman. Is it like because they don't get the story, or because it is a cultural thing? We believe it's culturally wrong for you to leave your marriage. Hello? Hello? Oh my goodness. I hope this is not a network thing, but we lost her, so hopefully she's going to come back on. So let me use that to acknowledge each and every one of you. Oh, good evening, Oluwakemi Oyekale. Thank you. Good evening, Sandra. Good evening, Florence. Good evening, all of you, and good afternoon from this end. I hope you all had a great week. So for the benefit of those that just tuned in, we've been talking to Peace, but obviously you all should be used to the network of Nigeria by now, so we lost that. We are going to wait for her to come back. Oh, am I the only one who can't hear? Okay, can you people hear me? Because Florence just asked if she's the only one that can't hear. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, please say something. Can you all hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, I can hear you, Peace. I'm actually asking the people online because I think someone is saying they can't hear. Can you hear me? Esther Queen, welcome. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, can you say something? I don't think they can hear.
I can hear you now.
No, not you. Not you.
Hello. Oh, okay.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Okay. Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you loud and clear. Okay, so obviously, Florence, it's just you that can't hear. So Peace is back and we are good to go.
Yes.
Okay.
Your last question.
Yes, my last question was the reason for the criticism. Do you think it's because they really don't get your story? Or is it a cultural thing? Is it because some things has been ingrained in us as Africans? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, I can. Well, I can't really say people don't relate. I can't really say people don't understand when they say they are walking out of bad marriages. In short, funny enough, a lot of people are in bad marriages. A lot of people. And these are the ones that will come first for your head if you say you are going to leave. You know, I think it's just cultural, just this fear ingrained in people that, when you leave, God hates divorce, then of course you are going to be stigmatized by the society and all what have you. So I think that's why people really don't want to come and say, okay, take a walk. Then people are afraid of saying take a walk and offending God. So you see, these are the dynamics that I think affect these situations. Yeah.
Okay, so you just made a statement about offending God, and
Yes.
this God hates divorce thing. I'd like to ask your perspective about that. Like personally, I would say God is a God of many chances, right? So and of course I know God hates divorce. I'm a Christian. I know He hates divorce, but is that a reason for you to stay in a relationship and probably get killed or something? Is that not a sin?
Well, for me personally, when people say God hates divorce, I used to share that belief. Yes. But right now, I won't exactly say God wants your marriage to fail.
Of course He
But
doesn't.
I know
Oh.
where it's not good for you, when you're in that position, I know that God doesn't want you to be there. I know for a fact now that God doesn't want you to be there. Yeah, so it's not God's wish for anybody to perish. It's not God's wish for anybody to go through something painful or something, such
Yeah.
hardship.
Yeah.
So I don't share that belief that, well, even if God hates, God would not want you to go into the marriage with the mindset of divorcing, but
Yeah.
I don't think God wants you to stay in a place where your life is
Is
threatened.
a
Yeah,
risk. All right. Thank you so much.
yeah.
So dying in silence. Yes, a lot of people are, and you made that statement too. But I think it has a lot of things to do with conditioning. As women, we've been conditioned to stay there and fight
Yeah.
it and make it work, no matter what. Anyway, so I want to
Yeah.
ask you, because I know you're being very careful about putting a lot of things out there. But would you say you were broken in your marriage? Would you say, I know you said it affected you mentally or was almost affecting you mentally. But would you say you got to a stage where you were broken?
Oh, yes, definitely. You see, there is nobody that would get married and marriage to work. In short, there's nobody that goes into any venture and wants it to fail. Everybody wants to achieve, go into something and expect it to succeed. Yes. So at that point where I knew that it wasn't going to work, at that point I was broken. I sincerely was broken. If I could give anything for it to work, I would have done it. I was broken because right from when I was a youth, I had looked forward to it like this is something I was going to do right. Because I had seen a lot of people around me do it wrong. I believed that I would do my own right. And having such a thing not work for me was a big blow to my confidence and to my self-esteem. Yes, so I was broken at that point. Yes.
Okay. So at the point where you left was the point you realized that you were broken.
No, you see, trust
Or
me,
you realized before
nobody
then.
lives at the time they realize. It takes a while before you walk away. At that point, yes, oh yes. At that time you realize you are still trying to do if things will work, you are trying to do, So it definitely wasn't at the end of it. It had happened, a whole lot of series of things had happened before then, before I decided, to take a walk.
All right. Thank you so much. So it's not most of the time you can realize you are broken and still don't have the courage to leave, right? So what gave you that courage to leave?
Yeah.
What gave you that strength to leave?
That strength. Well, I think for me personally, I think just assessing the whole situation, I think, how will I put it? I was angry. You know, there is this societal expectation of women that women should be subservient, women should, not have a say. Even if things are going wrong, the woman is the one to bear, the woman is the one to carry such. I think at that point, I just looked at it and I was tired. I truly was tired. I knew I couldn't take it a day longer. I knew my mental health was suffering. I wanted to preserve my life for myself, for my loved ones. So I had to leave first because I was angry at the situation. I looked at it, I was tired, I was angry. Then I looked at my future and I knew that there was something better in store for me in the future. I looked at it and I knew that this was not where I wanted to end. This was not where I wanted to just, relax. It's easy to relax, even in the face of abuse or whatever. Sometimes you have built your life around that situation and it's easy to just sit down there and relax and say, oh, let me just manage it. But for me, I knew that my life was more than that. I had a destiny to fulfill, and fulfilling it with that mental state was not going to be possible. So I think that was what gave me the courage, to work.
Wow. Okay, so someone said you are so brave to be sharing this. Then there is someone sent a question. What was the effect? Okay, do you have children? Do you have children involved?
No. There were no children in the marriage.
Okay, yeah, because this person was asking about the effect of the divorce on your children. So that won't apply to you. Most ladies don't want to work out of bad marriages because of what people will say. True. Why do men change after marriage?
Yeah,
that's another question
true.
Just came in. They said, why do men change? It's not just men, actually. I think I need to correct that. It's not just men, women too. We have men that are broken as well. The difference is women, we are an emotional being. We wear our own art on the sleeve. You can easily see when we are going through things like that. But men can mask their own. They can pretend not to be. There are men that are in abusive relationships. So I just need to put that out there. It's not just women that are broken. Men too. We have men that are. So I like to rephrase the question to, why do people change after marriage? That's a question that someone just sent in.
Yes. Well, to be truthful, to really be truthful concerning this question, the truth is that people don't actually change. People don't actually change. People only pretend before marriage. They pretend to be who they are not. Number one. Then sometimes, truthfully, they give snippets of themselves. They give you signs, you understand. But maybe because sometimes, in my own case, sometimes you are too naive to see these signs. Sometimes you swallow everything hook, line, and sinker, and you feel,
just ignore.
This person must be telling me the truth. You can't hear to see it. Yeah, so those are one of, or you just ignore. That's the truth. These are one of the things that, make us not see before, look before we look. Yeah, people don't really change. People just pretend. And at the end of the day, they will, in marriage is full blown. Yeah. Then sometimes they give us
the real character
signals,
will come out.
a lot of friends. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that's just my own take on that.
Okay, someone said, I don't think people really change after marriage. I think those things were there and we were blinded to it because we only want to see the best in the people we love.
Exactly.
Yes. A lot of people we just pretend. We see it, we ignore, or we tell ourselves that, especially women, that it will change once we are married. It will not be like that once we are married. Like we pretend as if it doesn't exist, and then when it becomes unbearable, that's when it becomes an issue. That's the truth. That's the truth. When we can take it, we don't see anything wrong with it, we just ignore. But when it becomes unbearable, then it becomes an issue. Anyway, so how were you able to carry on? I know you said you got to a place where you knew you had to leave. So how have you been able to carry on?
Okay. Well, from at the beginning, I think just having the support of my family and a few close friends, sometimes you are down, even if you are angry and you are saying, okay, I'm going to do this. But sometimes you just need that person to validate it and say, yes, don't worry, I'll be there with you. Yeah. So I had the support of my family. Yes, my family stood by me. I mean, I went back home, and the door was open for me to come back home. My friends stood by me, the ones that sent me money to say, okay, you know what, you are not okay. Let me, support you with this. And funny enough, at that time I was doing my master's. I was left, without anything. I changed cities without a job, without anything, people, even as people were criticizing, a lot of people also came through to pull for me. And another thing I think that helped me cope was that I never stopped praying. In as much as my relationship with God took a nosedive, dwindled, took a very sharp nosedive, I knew that God heard me, God hears, and I was prepared to talk to him until, I could feel him close. I didn't feel him close at all, but it didn't stop me from talking, because that was the only thing I knew how to do. So I kept praying, I kept drawing strength from what the relationship I've had with him in the past. Yeah. So that was and yes, that was about it. Yes. Sorry, let me just add something. I remember hearing a message by the late Archbishop Idahosa, and he said, when you don't know what to do, when you are down, you don't know anything to do, just say, God help me. Sometimes you don't even know the prayers to pray. You just say, God help me. I don't know what to do about this. Just help me. And surely, it comes true. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. I hope you guys get that. First and foremost, who do you have in your inner circle? Who do you surround yourself with?
Yeah.
That's one. Secondly, we can never overemphasize the place of prayer. It cannot be overemphasized. Yeah. You need to build a relationship with God. Like I tell people, especially single people, when you're single is the best time for you to build your relationship with God. You need to build it and create an altar of prayer for yourself. So I hope you guys hear that. God always answers. So there is a question that said, moving forward, do you consider being married again in the future, or you prefer to stay alone?
That's a tricky one. I have a lot of friends bearing down my neck for this particular question. I'm open to change. Let me put it that way. I'm open to change. I'm open to whatever God has in store for me. But right now, I'm very seriously single. But I'm open to change. Let me just put it that way. All through the years, from 2016 till now, I have focused mainly on healing from the trauma I went through. Yeah, so that's it.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Then did people walk away from you because of your what you did? I mean, I think this person meant, did you lose some people along the way because you walked away, because you left your marriage?
Oh, yes, I did. When you are married, you are not just married to the person, you are married to the family. I think some people from the other side of the family that,
I think we lost that again. Hello, can you hear me? Hello? All right, I think we lost it again. So, wow, you guys you're blowing it up today. The messages are going so fast that I can't read them. So, let me see while we wait for her to come back. A lot of behaviors, attitudes don't show. They are not really visible while dating or courting. It becomes more obvious when we start to live together. That's true. That's true to a certain degree. But I think there are some that we see and we intentionally ignore. We intentionally ignore it. I don't know the reasons, but for some people, in my own case, it was because, okay, it's been a while. Like I've been expecting this. Like I said, I believe it was the answers to my prayers. So yes, I agree. I agree with that.
Okay, can you hear
And someone said, yes, I can hear you. Welcome back. Never underestimate the power of a good support system. True. That's true. Always keep God in the equation.
Sorry, the network.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Sorry, I didn't get that. Yes, I can hear you.
No, I was just reading the comments of people while we wait for you to come back.
I didn't get that last question.
We were talking about people walking away from you because of what you did.
Oh, yes. Like I said I did lose some relationships. You know, I said family. There are some very cordial relationship with, but because of that incident, people I share the same faith with, who castigated me for taking this decision. Yeah, so by the time I came under heavy criticism from these people, I had to cut off for my own peace of mind. Yeah, so those two categories, I would say I did lose some relationships. Then, of course, there were some people that didn't come to me to ask me questions. They just, heard whatever they heard and just took sides and, so what to do? You just have to take it in. Yeah, with the punches.
All right, thank you. So, it's very important to have a soft landing after making that kind of a difficult decision. Without good support system, one can return back to his or her abusers. Kudos to your family and friends indeed. Yes, that's so true. That's true. So the next thing I want us to talk about is your relationship with God. How did this affect your relationship with God? Because I know you said you were so broken to the point of... Yeah, so how did it affect your relationship with God?
Yeah. Indeed. Even before walking away, there was a time I couldn't talk to God anymore. There was a time I kept asking, get this wrong. When did I get this wrong that I now have to make a decision like this that would affect me? I blamed myself. At a point, I blamed God. So my relationship with God really took a nosedive. Then, of course, I felt disappointed at myself. I felt that I had taken a decision that, I didn't look properly before taking the decision. So I felt disappointed, like, why would I do this type of thing to myself? Then I felt guilty. I felt guilty because I felt that, God always speaks. God always guides. If you would listen. So I felt guilty, like I had let God down for not listening to him and taking a decision according he wanted. Really affected my relationship with God. Then, of course, getting criticism from those people you share the same faith with, I didn't go back to the church I just felt I couldn't face those people. The few I faced, when they criticized me, I didn't want to just face the larger crowd and, have such criticism weighing down on my already fragile mental health. So it really did affect my relationship with God and even my service in church. Yeah, it did.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I think we need to highlight something, the different stages of emotions that you went through. You said you felt guilt, you felt condemnation, you felt... Yes, so I think we really need to talk about that. What those levels of emotions that you went through just because of this thing.
Yes. Well, for me, at the beginning, I think it started with realizing that, I had gotten into a mess. I was in deep mess and I didn't know how to get out. Then, realizing that I was in a mess, I think I was shocked and I grieved. Yes, I grieved the fact that I was going to be a failure. So to, put it, I grieved because I felt like I was a failure. I had felt at some, succeeding at. Yes, so I grieved. I did grieve. In short, I stayed in grief for years. I grieved because I would look at my husband then and I would look at him and I would be like, so this thing will just, go like that. I grieved for the time I put in. I grieved for the time we put in. I grieved for the way we built. I grieved for everything. I think it will be grief because I know I cried. I cried like I've seen crying was going extinct,
Oh, wow. Wow.
I cried, but I just knew it was beyond salvageable, yes. So grief, realization and grief will be the main emotions I will use to describe what I went through. Yeah.
Okay, and that the grief, was it the grief that affected your service in church? Was it the grief that affected your relationship with God? Was it the criticism that really affected your relationship with God? Do you feel you felt as if God has failed you in a certain way?
Well, yes, I did feel that for a little bit, but I'm of the belief that God is always true. It is we humans that do not align perfectly with God. So even when that thought crossed my mind, I just discarded it because I know that God cannot be a liar. I think grief was the beginning of, or grief was what sets other emotions into play. Like after I grieved, I began to question myself. Like I began to doubt myself. It took a toll on my self-esteem. Feel guilty. Yes. So and there is no how. All these things are markers of an emotional, mental health that is not really okay. Do you understand me? Yes. All this grief, disappointment, that the person is not okay mentally, and you really cannot put your best foot out there to serve. Yes. So definitely it affected my work with God.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. The mental stages, the mental struggle, the feeling of, oh, is God still in love with me? Does God still answer prayers? Does God still, especially when you're someone that really believes that this is God, like this is the will of God for my life, and then all of a sudden everything just went poof like that. So I can honestly understand what you just said now.
Yeah.
So I want us to talk about the steps to healing. What the steps you had to go through, because I know you said for years, for like 3 years, you said from 2015 to 2018, you were just going through your healing process. So can we talk about that process, the process you went through for you to be able to sit down? Because if you are not healed, you won't be able to sit down and talk about it this way. But before we do that, I appreciate everybody that came in. Thank you, Bumi the farmer. Thank you, Mommy Ray. Thank you, Afolabi. Thank you all so much. So let's talk about your healing process.
Yes. Well, for me, like I said, it started with realization. I just want to start from the beginning. It started from the realizing that, okay, I was already in this mess. Then grief is very important. You have to go through that process of, if you have to mourn, if it's painful, you have to feel the whole range of the pain, And from grief, I think I sat down to do some self-appraisal. I had to sit down and ask myself certain questions and tell myself the truth. Because, it takes two to tango. It takes two for something to work, and it takes two for it not to also work. So I had to admit to myself my own end of the bargain, what I did wrong or what I didn't do right. A sort of SWOT analysis, so to say. I had to look at it and see, okay, what are the merits, what are the demerits, patterns that were not appraisal. And after that self-appraisal, when I could see that, okay, this is where this person wronged me, this is what I also did wrong, you see, I think I got peace. I had peace with the whole situation. Yes, the anger came down, even the self-esteem, everything. I had peace just telling myself the truth, you know. And after peace, I think it's forgiveness. When you can tell yourself the truth, you can say, okay, this is why this person did this. This is what this person did. This is why this person did what they did. You can actually look and say, well, I'll let it go. But I must say something. Forgive and forget. I don't know if it is true. I don't know if such a statement exists. I don't know if it is possible. Yes, I can only say from what I went through, I can only say that I forgave. And when I remember whatever happened, when I remember the experiences that used to make me feel bitter and angry, I don't feel those emotions anymore. But definitely, I do not forget. I know exactly what happened. My memory is still in my memory, but I don't remember it with pain. I can talk about it without. In short, I don't badmouth him. Even if somebody asks me, what happened? What did you do wrong? I find no reason to talk about it because I've moved on. I've moved past it, so I remember
You've
it
actually
without
forgiven
pain.
him.
Then, yes. Then there is also something I must say. When people say forgive, okay, as you are forgiving him, just go back and work things out. It is not true. You can forgive and decide
And
not to
still
give the person
just,
access to your life
yep,
anymore.
yep,
Yes,
yep.
because sometimes when you forgive, when you have gone through the process of self-appraisal, you have you have asked yourself certain questions, and you have admitted to yourself. Sometimes the other party may not have admitted to themselves, and they still have the ability to cause that harm and hurt to you again. So if
Again.
you realize that forgiving and allowing the person come back into your life is going to do you more harm, trust me, you can just close that channel. But it doesn't mean you haven't forgiven. So that is
Yeah.
it. Then lastly, I think after forgiveness, you can move on. You see, when people say forgiveness is for you, it is actually for you. It frees you from bitterness, because there's something about bitterness. When you are bitter towards a person, you keep going there again and again. But when you can let that person go, you can move on. Yes. Then there's something I must say. Um, healing is not a linear process. It's not a linear process at all. Sometimes you can be on grief and self-appraisal, and when you are doing self-appraisal, you come to a certain truth, you go back to grief again. So for me, I think for years I was stuck in grief. I would do some self-appraisal, I will realize some things, I will start grieving again. Sometimes it's not just a direct. I remember a friend calling me and saying, you are sitting on the fence. If you know you
Oh, wow, wow. I think we lost her again, and the way she was analyzing the healing process, it's just resonating with me, because now the thing is, most of the times we just believe that, okay, she's out now, she's okay, but she's not. She still had to go through some processes herself. She had to ask herself the difficult questions that she would not admit to anyone. She had to, that which is what she called self-appraisal. She had to own her own part of the breakdown of the marriage, which is what I think most of us don't do. We just want to blame the other person, it's not the other person, but we never really own up to our own mistakes or the wrongs that we did on our own. And I believe that if we can do that, that will actually help us a lot. If we can just say, okay, this is where you did wrong, this is where you made your own mistakes, this is where you mismanaged the situation, which is the self-appraisal. And if we can actually do that, I believe that will give us some kind of closure, because there is working out, there is actually having peace. There is a difference between you working out and you actually having peace for working out. So I think she's back. Thank you for coming. For your network keeps going. While grieving, how did you keep up with your health? That's the question.
Just tried. I just tried environment. because my mental health is very important to me. I feel things deeply. All right. So I just tried to be in a position where I'll have just positive feedback. So, like I said, there were a lot of people I had to withdraw from because all I felt from them was negative vibes. So I had to be in a place of positive, affirmations. Then, funny enough, even when I had to change churches, I I just looked for another church to start attending because I needed God's word. Okay, I needed God's word to build myself up. Even if I didn't get involved in anything, I just needed to be there. I needed to be somewhere where people worshipped God, and even if I couldn't worship, I could flow. I could just, flow in that corporate worship. Yes. So those two ways, I stayed in a positive environment, and of course, I had a lot of support. I had a lot of support from my friends and from my family, like I said earlier. Yeah, and that's it. Yes, that's basically it.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. There was a question that came in when you were gone. Looking back, do you think there was anything you did that you could have done differently?
Yes. Looking back, if there was something I could have done differently was before I got married.
You wouldn't have married him at all.
Seen the sign, not to cast aspersions on his personality, but I would have, sometimes you can have two good people that, they are not compatible at all.
Yeah.
Yes.
True.
So I would have seen those things. I know myself better now. I know what makes me click. I know what weighs me down. I would have seen it from the beginning, and I would have just, gently taken it back. Yes. So looking back, that's what I would have done. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. So let's talk about the church. Like, what steps do you think the church, or what more do you think the church needs to do? I know they're doing their best, but do you think they could do more in being more empathetic with people in our kind of situations?
Yes. Oh yes. I think there's a whole lot. This one, I'm very passionate about this. There's a whole lot of things that that the church or the leaders in church can do to help people. In this society that we are, there will always be people who may not be able to stay in marriages. Everybody should just come to that conclusion, just accept it. There are people like this. Between the black and the white, there are gray areas. So you should just accept it that there are people who will fall in between. Yes. Then because of that, they should have empathy. Being a leader in church is a very great calling. And it's not one to be taken lightly. You are dealing with people's life. So you should have empathy. I think people should listen. They should listen, not just to advice, but also to listen to comfort, to hear the pain and, offer comfort and succor. There is something the Bible always says. The Bible says that anytime Jesus wanted to compassion on them, I think that compassion is lacking. I think sometimes we just run it in a business-like way. No, you should have empathy, love these people and, listen to comfort them. Then please, a person's be the next Sunday service sermon material. You are sharing something with somebody today and no. You should be empathic to people's plight. It's real emotions we are talking about here. Even if you're going through, is one. Then number two, I think they should encourage the victims to flourish in God's house. Let them know that even if you have gone through this, you still have a place in God's family, to serve. Encourage them to serve without making them feel like a failure. Don't only love them in your heart and say, "Oh, I love you," profess it with your words. Show it. Encourage them to be comfortable in the house of God, give them a place to serve, give them a place to be healed from their trauma, even in the church. Then another thing, they should address and discuss this. I think this is like a taboo topic in the church.
Yes.
Nobody wants to talk about this.
Nobody wants to talk. They all want to act as if it's not happening, and it's happening.
Yes. You hear people say, you see, this so and so great because these people, they don't have good character, they don't do this, they don't. It's much, much more than that. Address it. The same way we have single seminars. Sometimes they organize seminar for singles. Sometimes we have marriage seminar, we have marriage dinner, couples dinner. We should have a seminar that addresses these issues in church. You should. There is a way you will teach a particular message that the minds of your congregation. We should teach our congregations to accept and love people who have decided to walk out of marriage. When they brought Mary Magdalene before Jesus and said she was caught in the act of adultery, and they said, oh, she has sinned, Jesus didn't cast her away. The Bible is replete on who still love despite it all. Address it with your congregation. Let them have a healthy mindset. There is a popular AIDS advert that I heard when I was younger. They said, don't stigmatize the victim, stigmatize the virus. There is a malaise in the society, due to upbringing and so many other things that causes such things to happen. Instead of stigmatizing the people who are going through enough pain already, instead of stigmatizing them, why don't we address these malaise, and give this victim a place, to serve. Then lastly, I think the church should be inclusive. They should be inclusive. If you go to most churches, you have women's group that comprises of married women of any age. We have men's group that comprises of married men. We have youth that comprises of unmarried singles. Then we have children. Where do we fit in? Where do the single mothers fit in? Where do the separated couples fit in? That even brings to mind, I joined a church recently because I had relocated recently. And, when they were introducing the groups, they said, okay, women's group are for women from 30 and above, married or unmarried. And that brought such joy to my heart. In short, the way I ran to register for women's group, the speed is unprecedented. That's the only one time I have seen that happen in any congregation I have attended. Most times there is no place for people like us to fit in. So when you want to join maybe choir, they'll say, okay, what group do you belong? Are you in singles? You don't know what to say. It's painful enough that you have gone through this trauma, then to start revisiting that wound over and over again. No, I think the church should be inclusive. There should be something that addresses or caters for this particular set of people. Yes, so that's it.
Wow. Thank you so much for that, because this is I hope I was writing, because it's points that I would have liked to write and then I light and put on my pages, because I hope someone is taking notes of them, because it's actually what I think about. Like, we are actually struggling on our own, that we really don't know where to fit in. But for the church to now bring it and they're not putting it in your face, it's okay. Don't let me go off, because we had a discussion not to bash the church. So let's just move on. So churches these days shies away from some topics as if they don't exist. Yes, that's true. But thank you. I hope you all are taking notes, because I'm going to ask you all these questions later. And thank you for joining. Pim. Thank you, Gentle Lord. Thank you, Candy. Some people came in between. I really didn't want to interrupt her, because she was dishing out things that. Anyway, so I think we basically covered it all. Thank you so much. But this point for the church, I'd like to ask if there's a way for you to send it to me, because the only platform we have, we want to thank God for social media. Social media has given us a platform to put things out there.
Yes.
It's not for me,
Yes.
it's not for you, it's for other people that will see it and maybe most likely decide to do something about it. Some people can see it and walk away. Some people might just decide to act on it. And I've always told myself, the platform I have, I will try as much as possible to use it to impact life, to change some narratives. Because I tell people, when Real Talk, I started Real Talk because there are some things I know the church averagely won't address. And I don't shy away from it. I don't shy away from it. I'll bring it, I'll talk about it. So I'll appreciate if you can actually, someone said this is deep. Yeah, very, very deep. Like, in fact, the place of where you said they should listen to comfort. Listen to comfort, not listen to condemn, not listen to criticize, not listen to understand, but listen to comfort. That I'll appreciate it, please, if you can just send me those points and I'll put it up there. Okay, so thank you so much. That's it. But before we go, I'd like to ask you to summarize everything we've talked about today. What is your own final thoughts? What advice will you give to someone that is going through what you went through? What advice will you give to a single lady that is seeing the red flags now but doesn't want to, just believe that it will change or it will be better or whatever, So I'd like you to put everything together for us.
Okay. Well, I think to anything that any process in life requires courage. Yes. Sometimes the courage may not be there, but you just have to take the courage. For people who have not entered and are seeing the red flag, it takes courage to walk out, especially when you are deeply committed, when a lot of people have seen you together or you have made the plans to actually go on with this. It takes courage to step back. Sometimes, funny enough, the courage doesn't have to be, immediate 100% courage. You can start from 1%. I remember for me, I think every day when I wake up, I'll be like, God, how will I survive? What will I do for money? How will I live? And I'll just tell myself, you know what, please take today, one day at a time, one day. And that's.
Oh, not again. At least the network should just stay for us to finish. We're almost done. Thank you for joining in Gbemaj and welcome. We're almost done with the show. Yes, the role of the church is to comfort the people of God, comfort and guide. Yeah, she really made some points that I'm going to write on each and every one of them. So look out. She made some points that I think, and I'm not doing this to bash anybody or to condemn anybody or whatever. No, I'm doing this to sensitize people. It's a platform. It's social media. You can. I tell you people, at times the topic I bring to talk about are things I see on social media. We learn from these things each and every day. So if you can't walk up to your pastor to tell your pastor that this is what I think you should do, you can put it on your wall. You can put it on social media and someone will read it, and you might not know, your pastor might actually read it too. So I hope she comes back, but if she doesn't, we've had a great time. Personally, I've been enlightened a lot. I've been taught a lot about, even though there are thoughts, some things you have in your head, but you don't know how to put it together or to bring it together. She actually did that today. She brought some things I've been thinking about, put it together, as in put it into words that make sense. Okay, so I hope she comes back. But,
okay, I'm back.
Yeah, she's back. Okay, welcome back. So you were giving us your final thoughts. You stopped at one day at a time.
Yes, one day at a time. Yes, you just have to take one day at a time. What 1% courage, if you ever you want to do. For the person who is single and seeing the signs, then for the person who is in my situation and doesn't know what to do, see, courage. It takes courage. It takes courage. Then it takes God. Sometimes just telling God, see, just help me. You'll be amazed at what God does. Sometimes we just have this image of God cast in stone and say, this is what God does. But sometimes I tell you, for a situation that will take your life, God can actually deliver you. So you can't remove the place of God. You can't remove the place of God and courage. Then I just want to quickly say one quick thing for anybody who is seeing the red flag and doesn't know what to do, or even if you don't know if you are seeing the red flag, I think trust your instinct. Your instinct will always tell you what is true or what is not true. There are sometimes somebody does something that seemingly seems harmless. It doesn't look like it is something harmful, but there'll be an alarm in your spirit. There'll be something inside you that is not just comfortable. Even when you want to shake it off, it's there. You don't have peace about it. Listen to it. Listen to it. I tell people a lot. I tell them that, you see, your peace is your signal to go ahead. If you don't have peace about something, hold on. If you don't even have no peace, maybe there is nothing. There is just a silence in your spirit. It's not peace. It's not lack of peace. Hold on. Then there is something I always tell people: give time some time. Time is a tester. Time is a revealer. Sometimes there are some things that you see and you feel, okay, I just want to do this thing. If you just hold on a bit, just a bit, you would see that a lot of things will be open for you to see. Then thirdly, especially for people who are yet to go in, the worst way you can approach any process, especially marriage, is desperation. We have in this part of the world, we tell ourselves that women's time for women can elapse. A woman's reproductive time can elapse and all those things. And sometimes they tell you, women want security, they want a man to take care of them, and you factor in these things and you can't even listen to your inner voice. You can't listen to yourself. You can't listen to your instinct telling you the truth, and you are desperate, and you will definitely make a mistake. Desperation is never a comfortable place for the Holy Spirit to speak to you, never. So it's better you take some time, take a step backwards, and give it time and see. Even for people that want to leave, sometimes just taking some time to, look and see the way things will play out can just, also help. And definitely courage. It takes courage to do whatever you want to do. Just, chin up, and God will definitely make it.
God will strengthen you. Amen. Yeah. Amen. Thank you so much, Peace. We appreciate your time. We appreciate everything you said on here today. Thank you. Yes, time is a revealer. Trust your instincts. Take it one day at a time. And don't forget the place of prayer. It's a whole lot of things going on in today's show. A whole lot of nuggets, a whole lot of takeaways that we can all take. I know it's not peculiar to people. We have, even for you that are married, that are going through one thing or the other, there are some things you can take away from today's episode. The singles, you can take some things away. The divorced, the divorcees, you can take some things away. So we appreciate you for that. Don't be desperate. Yes, time is a revealer. Trust your instincts one day at a time. They are just repeating everything you said one after the other. Take your time to choose a better partner. And I know my pastor in Nigeria used to tell me something then. He would tell me, if it smells like a rat, it is a rat. If you think like a rat is smelling, then there is a rat somewhere. So I'm just going to leave you with that. And we hope and pray. Like I said, we can never ever ignore the place of prayer. Praying and prayers can help us avoid a lot of mistakes. Okay, so thank you all for joining. I think we lost it again. Thank you so much. Peace, are you there? Okay, I think we lost it again. Thank you all so much. And for our giveaway, I was supposed to announce this at the start of the show, but because a lot of people were not here, so the announcement we are not going to do it this week. We are going to do it next week, because I know I told you there will be a game. After this show, that will be peculiar or particular to the topic of discussion for that day. There will be something that will draw up, and maybe like a flashcard, we'll flash it, and then you tell us what it means, part of what the guest said. Like, I know if I ask you guys today, if I do a sign and tell you to tell me what you think was particular to what the guy, our guest for today, mentioned, maybe there will be nobody, because I didn't notify you before for you to watch out for these things. So we are going to do the giveaway next week, And the way it's going to work is I'm going to maybe flash something like a flashcard, and you're going to tell me either a word or a sentence. It's called Get a Clue. I'm going to give you a clue, and you're going to tell me what is it that the guest mentioned or what it is that the guest said. Like I can just flash you like a picture of family, and then I know if she mentioned family as a support system, I can flash you the building of a church building, and you know it's a church, and you know, but it's going to be fastest fingers first. So that's why I'm not doing this now, because I didn't tell you at the start of the show, so that you can be prepared for it. But thank you all so much. Thank you all for your contributions. I see each and every one of them, even for the ones that I didn't read out. I see them, and I appreciate them so much, so much. I appreciate each and every one of you that is always making a post about the show, sharing the flyers on your wall and your stories, tagging people and telling people to come and join. We thank you. We are going to, myself and someone is drawing up something. We are going to recognize and reward each and every one of you very, very soon. But I just need you to know that I appreciate each and every one of you. So thank you so much. We'll be coming your way next week with another guest. And until then, I'm still your friend. Oh, Auto Doctor, thank you for tuning in, but we're done. Okay, my name is still Odun Akerele. I'm still your friend. I'm still your sister. I'm someone else's daughter, and I'm a woman like you all. I'll see you all next week. Thank you all so much. Grandma Tamlin just joined. Oh, we are done with the show, ma'am. See you all next week. Bye.